What's up YouTube, Saf here on Super Saf TV, and in this video I'm going to be comparing the specs of the Samsung Galaxy Note 4 to the LG G3. So the Note 4 has just been announced today and it's offering some great specs and features, improvements on the Note 3, and the G3 has been, I'd say, one of the best smartphones of this year so far. You can check out a full hands-on review of the device on my channel. I'll be linking that in the description below. So what are the key differences between these two giants? Well, do hit that thumbs up button and let's find out in this head-to-head spec comparison. So we're going to start off with the size. The LG G3 is actually quite a bit smaller compared to the Note 4, about 7.2 millimeters in height, 4 millimeters in width, and it is just slightly thicker. It's about 0.4 millimeters thicker. So overall it is a little bit more compact. Now that does partly come down to the screen size. You've got a 5.5 inch screen versus the 5.7 inch screen on the Note 4. Now it is a 0.2 inch difference, but the LG G3 is definitely the most compact device in this form factor. Now the type of screens are different here as well. The Note 4 has a Super AMOLED display, whereas the G3 has an IPS plus LCD display. Now the difference here, I find that the AMOLED displays are usually better in terms of the blacks. They have much deeper blacks and better contrast ratios, whereas LCD displays have some brighter whites. Now this does come down to personal preference, but I usually find that LCD displays can seem a little bit washed out sometimes compared to AMOLED displays because of those very deep blacks that you have on there. It will come down to personal preference, however. Now in terms of resolution, you've got the same resolution on here. You've got QuadHD display, so that's 2560 by 1440. Now you've got a slight difference in PPI. You've got 515 PPI pixel density on the Note 4. On the G3, you've got roughly about 538 PPI pixel density. So a difference here is not going to be huge because at that rate, you've got so many pixels that you are not really going to be noticing that much of a difference. But QuadHD displays, great to see on both devices. Now the G3 is also lighter compared to the Note 4, roughly about 27 grams lighter. Now this does partly come down to the build. The G3, you've got a plastic build, but it's got a metallic finish, so it does look quite premium and it does feel quite nice in the hand. It's not very grippy, but it definitely looks the part. I was very impressed by the build quality. Now the Samsung Galaxy Note 4, they've got a metal frame, so they've actually gone for a proper metal frame this time, unlike the fake ones that they used to go for before. Plastic made to look like metal. This time you've got a metal frame, and then you've got the textured soft touch back. So they've still gone for that soft touch back, which is quite good because it gives you a good grip in the hand and it feels quite comfortable to hold. Now I'm talking from experience by using things like the Samsung Galaxy S5 in the past. So they have gone partly for that comfort factor, but you still have that premium frame. So they've gone for a bit of a balance here. In terms of which one's better, this will come down to personal preference. I think both are pretty good here. Now looking at the internals, the G3, it is a few months older now, so you've got the Snapdragon 801 processor, 2.5 GHz quad-core clock speed, and it's got the Adreno 330 GPU. Now the Note 4 improves on this, and you've got a Snapdragon 805 processor, and that's quad-core 2.7 GHz, and you've got the Adreno 420 GPU. There's also going to be an octa-core version for particular markets, but this is going to be the main version. So as you can see, in terms of the processor and the GPU, the Note 4 definitely has the edge here. Now in terms of RAM, you've got two versions. The G3 has the 2GB RAM version as well as the 3GB RAM version, whereas the Note 4 just comes in 3GB. So depending on which one you get from the G3, you're going to have these different versions. Both are going to be great for multitasking. The Note 3 has some better multitasking abilities, which we'll be talking about a little bit later. In terms of the storage versions available, the G3 comes in the 16 and the 32GB versions, whereas the Note 4 comes in the 32GB version. There also may be a 64GB version available, which is not yet confirmed. Both of these also have expandable storage. The G3 you can expand by up to 128GB. With the Note 4, they are saying that you can only expand it up to 64GB, so not 128. So slight advantage here on the G3, but either way, expandable storage is a big advantage. Now moving on to the cameras, the G3 has a 13 megapixel rear-facing camera. It's got optical image stabilization, laser autofocus. This is something new that we've not seen on other devices, and it's got super snappy autofocus. You can check this out in my full review, and some great quality images. You've also got a dual LED flash. Now on the Note 4, they've got improvements from the Note 3. So you've got a 16 megapixel rear-facing camera, and it has optical image stabilization here as well. So we will have to put these side by side to see the results. Now video, both of these are capable of filming up to 4K, so that's 2160p. great to see. Once again, that optical image stabilization is really going to play a big part in giving you some nice quality video. Now, front facing cameras, we've got interesting things here. The G3, you've got a 2.1 megapixel front facing camera. It's a pretty decent front facing camera, and it's okay in low light as well. You've got a unique feature, which is your hand gesture. You can just hold up your hand like that and then clench your fist, and then it's going to set off a timer and take a picture. This is good to reduce shake when you're actually taking the picture, especially for a screen of that size. Now, with the Note 4, they've really emphasized on the selfie element here. As you remember, the Note 3, you had the famous selfie, the Oscar selfie, which got the most retweets ever on Twitter. So they have taken that on board and really improved the front facing camera on here. First of all, you've got 3.7 megapixels on the front facing camera, so a much larger resolution here, and it's also 60% brighter, so you've got an f1.9 aperture, so 60% brighter compared to the Note 3. And you've also got a wider angle lens from 77 degrees, it's up to 90 degrees now, so you're going to be able to get more people into your group selfies. There's also a 120 degree angle mode, which you can use sort of like a panorama, so if you swipe it across, and again, it's going to be fitting in that many more people into your selfies. And finally, you can use the heart rate sensor at the back to trigger off the shutter, so this should reduce a little bit of shake when you're taking the picture. Now, looking at the operating systems, both of these come with Android KitKat. You're going to be getting a slightly newer version on the Note 4 because it is releasing with 4.4.4, whereas you've got 4.4.2 on the G3. Now, both of these have their skins on top, so the Note 4 comes with TouchWiz UI on top, whereas the G3 comes with LG's Optimus UI. These both have their advantages and disadvantages. They are sort of similar in many ways as well. Lots of the features are similar. For example, you've got multi-window on both of these, and you've also got customizable notification panel toggles that are very useful as well. But they are both going to have their advantages and disadvantages. Now, looking at some of the key features that separate both of these, the G3, firstly, what's unique about the G3 is that you've got buttons at the back, so rather than on the sides, so your volume buttons and your power button, they're at the back. This took some time getting used to, but it's quite a nice little feature. You've got knock codes. You can do different combinations to unlock your device, which is a nice little touch. And you've also got a 1-watt speaker with a booster amp at the back, which gives you some nice loud sound. Now, with the Note 4, they've got a huge range of features here. Firstly, you've got the fingerprint scanner like you do with the S5. You've also got a heart rate monitor at the back of the device, which is going to let you measure your pulse rate and things that are going to be used with your health apps. But the key thing on the Note 4 is the S Pen. So this is something that makes the Note series quite unique and sets it apart from other devices, this advanced pen. Now, this has doubled in sensitivity, so you've got much more accurate sensitivity compared to the Note 3. And you've also got Smart Select, so you can select things across lots of different apps and put them all together, which is a nice touch. You can also use the S Pen as a mouse, so as you would do a mouse, so instead of selecting lots of images one by one, you can actually click and drag, and you can also select parts of text in that same way, which is quite nice. You've got Snap Note, which lets you take an image of, say, some writing that you've done, or a board on a board, writing on a board, and it's going to convert that into actual text which you can edit. So you've got lots of these new little features on the Note 4 which are really going to improve that multitasking experience. You can also multitask on the G3, but it's not as advanced as on the Note 4. Now, looking at the batteries, the G3 has a 3000 mAh battery, which is removable. In terms of usage, it was absolutely great. I got roughly about 5 hours of on-screen time throughout the day, and it got me through the day with no problems whatsoever. Now, the Note 4, you've got a 3220 mAh battery on here, which is also removable. And the key thing on the Note 4 is that you've got fast charging, so you can go from 0 to 50% in roughly about 30 minutes. So again, another advantage here on the Note 4. They've really gone for some nice improvements here. Now, finally, looking at the price, the G3 has actually dropped in price quite a bit compared to when it was first released. So you can pick it up for just about £400 in the UK, which is absolutely great for what you're getting with this device, and roughly about between $550 to $600 in the US. So a very good price for the G3 here. Now, the Note 4, they haven't specified any pricing as yet. I'd expect it to be between £600 to £650 here in the UK, or between $700 to $750 in the US. Now, this is based on what the price was of the Note 3 when it was initially released. So this is the sort of pricing that I would expect. Release date, you're looking at roughly about October time. So the G3 is definitely going to be much cheaper. So if you are on a bit of a budget, the G3 is probably going to be more of a compelling option. And those were the key differences between the LG G3 and the Samsung Galaxy Note 4. I think both of these are offering some great features. The Note 4, they've really packed it with features, and this is what they usually do. So you've got that S Pen with all of those advanced multitasking features, which are definitely going to appeal to a lot of people out there. But with the G3, you've got the most compact device in this sort of form factor, and I personally really like that. Once again, they have absolutely packed this with lots of features as well. What do you think of both of these devices? Which one do you think is better? Do drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, as always, please do hit that thumbs up button for me. It really does help me out. And why not subscribe to the channel? I've got plenty more content coming up on here. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on Super Saf TV, and I'll see you next time. If you want to see more regular videos like this one, then be sure to hit the subscribe button, which will be below. If you're on a mobile device, it may be somewhere else. If you want to see my previous related video, then hit the link right here. If you want to stay in touch over Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, then all of the addresses will be there somewhere, as well as direct links in the description below. Okay, if you're still watching, then that means you've not done one of those things, so, you know. Yeah. Anyway, I'm just gonna go downstairs. See. Okay. There isn't really a downstairs. Anyway, so yeah.